Good morning. Day off yesterday and a good choice as well. Shelbourne continued their excellent start to the season, but 2.7, the favourite, suggested it would be a competitive affair, which it was. Shamrock Rovers as well continue their great start to the Irish Premier Division season as well. We'll start looking at these matches in more detail pretty soon. But Shelbourne having an exceptional season coming out of nowhere. Wexford and Co-Bramblers didn't have a strong opinion unless Co-Bramblers scored first. No, they didn't. They equalised. Italian Serie A, this went to the side with need, which you tend to focus on this stage of the season. Already down, Salernitana. Verona, looks like a jockstrap there, but Verona, 13th in the league. Take the 3 away from that 37. You'll see they're in a spot of bother prior to the win. This could be a season-defining win against Salernitana today. They had to win. Bologna and Juve. Exceptional start from Bologna, who are a side who are very difficult to take on because they're top 3. But if you were with the old lady yesterday, 3-0 lead on or near half-time in a 2.75 to favourite match. Arguable. It would have been a late or nothing laying Bologna at these odds. But I wasn't seeing it in the in-play stats. But Federico Chiesa coming out after a disappointing, I think it was a 1-1 draw against Salernitana. Was it? Yeah, 1-1 against Salernitana last cup match. Great recovery for Juventus, but it's already job done this season. It's a bit of a dead rubber. La Liga 2, let's have a look at the standings. Leganes, anything with an arrow, it's season over. So it looks as if it's wide open at the moment. Look at this. We're going to enjoy the end of the season with these bottom sides all the way up to 14th, arguably, for the relegation dogfight. And we've got Sporting Gijón, Elche, Ferrol, arguably, down to Levante, vying for that top 6 berth as well. Still not done at the top either. Eibar can break into the automatic promotions places. So Spanish La Liga 2 is going to be one for us to target its last day of the season. When is that? Well, you can have a look yesterday. Pop down to Spain and just see how many matches are remaining. So we can be ready for this because it looks as if there's lots of teams with lots to play for coming to the end of the match, the end of the season. I think this is a season of 38, but it's not, is it? We're already up to 40. So we've got, looks like there's 2 matches remaining. So it's a season of 42, 2 matches remaining. So we would certainly be interested in the next set of matches, the penultimate set, because that allows teams to try and position themselves well for the last day of the season. Djurgården were excellent yesterday against Halmstad. There's absolutely no trading angle, though. They were far too efficient. Very, very early goals. Sirius and Vasteros. Sirius, one of those sides, a bit like Man United, Hoffenheim, etc. Don't know how to read them. And Malmo, excellent performance from them, but there should have been a win. Should have kept their excellent run going, but Lindberg and Gustafsson with a late penalty, that will be a bit aggrieving for Malmo. But they are a side to rely upon this season, Malmo. But I didn't see that Hacken recovery coming up. So that was it yesterday, and today is a very quiet day indeed. We've got NAC Breda and Emmen, the first of 2 relegation playoffs. Got no clue at all. If you look at the previous Dutch playoffs, you tend to see both teams scoring 2 goals at least. So that might be something for you to think about. 2-2, 3-2, 2-3. In the Allsvenskan, Gothenburg are playing Mjällby. Have a quick look at the standings. Gothenburg and Mjällby. Well, Mjällby are 4th, and Gothenburg find themselves with only 2 wins all season, 5 defeats and 2nd bottom. So automatically, really, from what you see there, be favouring Mjällby today, but it's 3.2 outside of Mjällby. So watch out. I did oppose Fredrikstad, Lillestrøm as favourites yesterday against Fredrikstad. So you can disagree with the market. It's just logical, really, isn't it? If you're second bottom, you're obviously not in form early season. Other matches today, the Bundesliga Conference League playoffs, 2.2 the favourite, Austria Vienna doesn't greatly appeal. Well, I'll be around for the Chinese Super League if you're up and about at lunchtime. Some familiar names, Shanghai Shenhua, Zhejiang Professional, you should be familiar with from a couple of weeks ago where we played the draw second half and they got the goal. Odds on favourite at home. Having a look at the standings will tell you who's the best form side early doors. After about 11 or 12 matches, Shanghai Shenhua odds on today. Zhejiang are 6th. Shanghai Port. So there's Shanghai sides dominating the league early on without defeat yet. And at the bottom, Qingdao Hainao and Maizhou Haka, Dengzhen Jingpengcheng and Nantong Jihun. Sorry for butchering the Chinese language there. Those are the early season strugglers. I'll be around at 12:30 and 12 o'clock and 12:35. If there is anything, I'll pass it on. Has to be really in-play stats with a little bit of in-play research should the underdog score first, just to have a look at the seasonal form. Copenhagen, always worthy of your attention at 6 o'clock against Aarhus in the Championship group in Denmark. Tend to be reliable. French League relegation playoffs, is this the first of 2 legs? I think it will be. Normally says here, but quarter-finals. So I don't think it's a 2-legged affair, unless I'm mistaken. So we can just check that out. Can't research it really for you, I'm afraid. I can't offer you any pre-match angles on these playoffs, particularly in the lower tiers. Is it going to be a goal fest like the Netherlands, or is it going to be 0-0s like the English Championship? Rodez Paris FC, it's just a one-off match this. So we've got a bit of a preview here. As you can see, these previews are normally longer than this. The website's having trouble getting some good angles for this particular match as well. But it's just a one-off affair as well, which makes it a little bit more difficult to research. 7:30, 2.45 the favourites. Probably not one you could readily trade unless you've got some inside knowledge. I can't give you any angles at all. All hail to the ale. Hapoel Beersheva, not favourite today, so do take note. They normally deliver when strong favourite, the beer. So watch out. Maccabi Tel Aviv, your usual odds on favourites as well at 6:30. So might offer me something a bit later on. Serie B playoffs as well. Catanzaro against Cremonese, 2.38 the favourite. Don't have an opinion there either. I just can't research playoffs for you. Moss against Start. Well, Start's only win of the season came in the last match, a 4-3 home win. That was the first time this season they'd scored 2 goals. Why this sudden lurch to 4 goals for Start? Can you rely on that? They've failed to score in 3 of the last 4 matches. Moss are scoring 2 or 3 goals at home. They've scored 2+ goals in each of the last 3 matches, home and away. They look like the side more reliable. But what on earth is going on with that 4-3 win for Start out of absolutely nowhere? So an interesting match in the Norwegian Obos-ligaen. Early season form would have you favouring Moss and their ability to score, but the question mark remains with Start. What on earth went on with that 4-3 when they'd failed to score that second goal in all other matches this season? So we'll wait and see whether Start have started to consistently score goals or not. In the Super League, we've got 3 odds-on favourites at home in the relegation group. Again, can't really research it as the leagues have been split into 2. This is very good for in-play stats, these kind of relegation championship groups. Take your cues from the market pre-match. And Yverdon Sport are newly promoted, so that could be see them vulnerable. Ditto Lausanne Ushi as well. So we might have something in Switzerland a bit later on. But again, barren research today, I'm afraid. And of course, the match we've been waiting for is Gucken Garsweiler against Borussia Mönchengladbach. So the pre-season friendlies will be beginning soon as well. You'll have all of the big guns touring the world, just as Man United and Liverpool did last season in Bangkok and Singapore. So that's it today. can have a look at the tennis because we're in the French Open qualifying period at the moment. So I don't tend to trade qualifiers personally. But old Jack Vera will be watching him, and Betty will be making a nice hot pot for old Jack Duckworth. See if we can get through this one. 1.73 the favourite. Should be a three-setter. You're going to get Mr. Janvier, a local lad. Ignore the rankings, because he might overperform in front of home support if there indeed is home support today. Diego Schwartzman is a standout for me at this stage. He doesn't normally do qualifying. An absolute standout. One of the most familiar names. Pellegrino arguably as well against Cressy. So this is how I do the qualifiers. We'll be looking for some familiar names like Quentin Hallis as well. Peniston, well, JJ Wolf, looking for odds on favourites as well. Very obvious odds on favourites. Zumier as well, another familiar name. These players are not really used to qualifying for these Grand Slams. Diego Montero has been in good recent form. So he should have an easy time of it against Delian Velasco. And looking at the ladies, watch out for, you can see the 1.73, the favourite. Fellow countrywomen might know each other's games a lot more or a lot better. Mona Bartel, a familiar name. Kudermetova. So that's how I would look at these. But I would prefer to be trading the initial opening rounds of a Grand Slam. Got some ready angles for those. Our Heather, Guernsey's finest, but she's on a downward trajectory as far as winning tournaments is concerned. Another case of fellow Ukrainians, I believe. So we might see a three-setter here. So Hannah Montana there. So that would be how I would play this. And we're off to Geneva. I think David Goffin got through his qualifiers. So he'd be keen in Geneva to do something. Again, fellow Americans meeting each other. You might see a three-setter here. Old Ruby being done by Hanfman. But this might be an opportunity to lay Hanfman 4-1 up at about 1.03. Just in case Ruby takes advantage of that break and gets back up and at him. We've got a lot of Brits. Jack Draper as well. Chris Eubank, very nice to meet you. He's leaving Brighton in his big truck with his monocle and coming off to Geneva to play Greek sport. Very nice, yes. So some familiar names. Shapovalov against Korea. Don't forget, pre-Grand Slam, all of these players are going to be giving their all, you can bet. Guillaume Monfils, local lad in France. Nishioka, I suspect, will give him a game. His odds might be too short based on the fact he's a Frenchman in France. Because he's, again, his season. And there's another one, Muller. So watch out for local lads and lasses, particularly if they're a set down. And we're off to Morocco as well. So these are done half travel. So I'll leave you with that. It's going to be a quiet day today, I'm afraid, football-wise. There's just a smattering of playoffs, which are very hard to trade. But I will be looking at the Chinese Super League at 12:35. So just have your notifications up in case there's a play. We had only one yesterday. It was Bodo Glimt. And they failed to score. That's the beauty of insurance, isn't it? We didn't get out of that with a loss. Elsewhere, well, Brand did get the goal back. Mulder and Salzburg, again, another wobble from Mulder. Strong Godset, good result for them. Not a very strong coupon yesterday, but there's just one or two sides that I tend to focus on there. Look at Fredrikstad. I did tell you in the research, you can ignore what the market says if you've got a strong opinion and you've done your research. Fredrikstad thoroughly deserved to be favourite yesterday. So I'll leave you with that. I might see you throughout the day, but as you can tell, not much of great appeal at the moment. But we're going to start lurching into our tennis now. So I'm going to set on my work schedule. I'll put in to gather up all of my tennis writings and share them with you. As you can see, we've got lots and lots of information to pass on your way. And as I've said to you before, if you want to read up about tennis trading, you get a free 30-day trial of this kind of website, Everand, and just look in tennis trading. And you'll get some really good free ebooks you can read for 30 days. Okay, I'm not an affiliate. This is just a way I found for you to be able to read up, not just about tennis, but up on some new potential football angles as well. Trading goals, correct score trading, mastering football trading success. Some of these are very poor books, to be honest. Don't offer me, at least, anything extra, but you might find something. A system trader as well. So there's plenty for you to read up about if you're interested in tennis trading. Okay, this looks to be a new book as well, but this is it's Michael Smith. He tends to churn out these books, as you can tell, and he seems to be a writer rather than a doer, because he knows everything apparently. He knows all about the Super Bowl, then mastering candlestick patterns, then football trading, and tennis trading. So I think he's just a writer, but it might be worth a read. So I might see you 12:35 for the Chinese, and then throughout the day, but unlikely you're going to be hearing from me with a tough set of largely playoff matches today.